Welcome to Northstar Kitchen. I'm Papa D. Cooking's been a passion of mine for a long time now, and I figured that we would start off with one of my personal favorites in the Mexican cuisine, the fajita. So let's take a look at what ingredients we're going to need in order to cook the fajita. We're going to go ahead and start off with, of course, the flour tortilla, and we'll have a video later on how to make fresh flour tortillas. We're going to need a green bell pepper, medium size, a red bell pepper, a white Spanish onion. I like the flavor for the white Spanish onions in the Mexican style of cooking. Very, very flavorful. We're going to need some fajita seasoning here. Now, of course, you can buy that directly from the store, or you can make your own. If you're going to make your own, you're going to need to have equal amounts of cumin, oregano, paprika, equal amounts of chili powder, garlic salt, and also sugar. Mix those together, and we're going to be using about a half a cup of that today. We're going to need a little bit of oil here to fry things up. And we're going to do two different types here. We're going to combine to make a combination fajita. We're going to be doing steak and chicken today. So the type of steak that we're going to use today is actually, it's a chuck steak. And I do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's cost effective. And almost any grocery store around has chuck steak. But what I really like about it is the fact that it's well marbleized with the fat, which really gives the steak its flavor. We're going to go ahead and trim that fat off before we serve it, but really a great steak to use in this sort of cooking. And we're also going to use chicken thighs today. Now again, that's a preference as to whether you want to use chicken breast or chicken thighs. It doesn't really matter one way or the other here. I prefer the darker meat simply because of the fact that it has the myoglobins which make the dark meat darker. It actually brings the nutrients to that muscle, and it really gives it a little bit more flavor, more nutrients. It is, however, a little bit higher in saturated fat, so if you prefer to avoid that, go ahead and go with the chicken breast, excuse me. So that's what we need to get started. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. So we're going to go ahead and start off by slicing the onion, and all we're going to do is just literally just cut these into nice little slices right here. And do that for both of them. Now I've already taken the peppers here and I've already cored them and topped them. So we're just going to go ahead and start slicing these into strips as well. And the thinner the better on these ones here, but I do like a little bit of chunk to mine. And there you have everything that we need. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take our chopped onions and peppers in. We're going to toss in a pat of butter along with the oil. I use olive oil for the flavor. We're just going to go ahead and mix these in and let them fry up a little bit. And we're cooking this over we started off with a medium heat. And just before we put the onions and peppers in, we've turned it down to a low heat. And we're just going to let that do its work for a few minutes. Here, I would say probably about 4 or 5 minutes here, and we'll come back and take a look at it again. All right, so while that's cooking on the stove, the onions and peppers that is, we're going to go ahead and slice up our steak and our chicken and get that ready as well. So we're going to go ahead and take our steak here, and we want to cut it into strips here. So I'm going to try and get as little strips as I can. So we're looking at about strips that are about that thin here, and that's going to be about the thickness that we're looking for. And the same thing with our chicken. I'm using chicken breasts, so I'm going to go ahead and spread them out here and just cut them into strips. Okay, so as you can see here, we've covered up the vegetables, put the cover on, and we've turned it up to just a medium-low heat so we can kind of get them cooking through. While that's happening, we've gone ahead and turned on the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these flour tortillas, and we're going to go ahead and get them ready as well. So I usually take about 5 of them, and we're going to go ahead and wrap them in tin foil. Does not need to be perfect, just need to be covered. And set them aside. Nothing better than serving the fajitas on a nice warm flour tortilla. Or corn tortilla as well also works very well. So we'll go ahead and set those aside. As you can see, we've got all of our meat ready to go here. So we're just going to give this a couple of minutes more for the vegetables to cook. We're going to go ahead and set those vegetables aside and throw our meat on here. All right, so at this point, our vegetables have been cooking for quite a while here. I'd say about 5 or 6 minutes here. They have been covered towards the last couple of minutes here. And if you can see, that's the color that we're looking for right there. We're looking for that nice golden color. They've lost a little bit of their rigidity, but they still have a little bit of a crunch when you go ahead and put them in there, into the fajitas. So we're going to go ahead and take these off the heat at this point here and set them aside. All right. So we're going to go ahead and use the exact same pan, same drippings and everything else, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and scoop in all of our meat, and we're going to let that cook for a few minutes here as well. Depending on how you like your steak and your chicken. We're going to go ahead and cover that and let that cook here for a couple of minutes, and then we'll come back to it. At this point, we've gone ahead and removed the cover so we can allow some of this, the liquid in here to kind of evaporate off a little bit. Important also to note here that because we are cooking chicken and beef together, you definitely want to make sure that not only is all of the pink gone, but you want to make sure that you're getting it up to the correct temperatures as well. So chicken should be heated to an internal temperature of 165 degrees, and beef should definitely be 145 degrees. But again, it's preference as to how well done you like your beef and how well cooked you like your chicken, but definitely above 165 for your chicken and 145 for your beef. All right, so that should just about do it there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add our seasoning in. We're going to add approximately a 1/4 cup of water in. And we're going to add our fajita seasoning mix in. Leaving the cover off, we're going to let that cook. We're just going to stir it around to really coat everything in here. And if you could smell this right now. Alright, so that should just about do it. We're going to go ahead and let some of that liquid cook off here a little bit more. So we're going to give it just a couple more minutes here. And while we do that, we're going to go ahead and slide in our flour tortillas into the oven. Remember, that's at 350 degrees. And you can go ahead and put them right on the rack in the tin foil here, 350 degrees. It's only going to be just a couple of minutes here for those to warm up. We're going to lower the heat down to about a low. We're just going to go ahead and keep everything moving. And there you have it. Chicken and beef fajitas. Quick and easy, not that hard to do, simple ingredients. Go ahead and top with cheese, salsa. We'll do a video on how to make homemade salsa here shortly. And sour cream. Toppings are your choice. Enjoy. I'm Papa D. Thank you for joining us today. Hope to see you back soon.